Welcome to the ShadowBear Story Sessions, the podcast about brutally dark, insanely hilarious folktales and fairy tales. We are going through the original versions of Grimm's fairy tales, not the cleaned up, family friendly versions, the gritty originals. And this week's tale is titled The Genie in the Glass. We begin. A man paid for his son to study. And after the boy had successfully attended a few schools, the father couldn't support him anymore. So he told him to come home and said, "You know that I've run out of money. I can't give you anything anymore." This is bleak so far here. This is just a sad tale of a man who wants his son to learn, and yet he can't afford to teach him. "Dear father," said the son, "don't worry. If that's the way it is, I'll stay and travel with you and earn some money from carpentry." This kid knows how to be a carpenter? That's a very useful skill. You could do a little carpentry on the side and, still go to school, probably, right? I don't know what medieval times schooling was like, but presumably you had the weekends off. Right? Maybe you had to send them to medieval times. Everyone was all spread out. You probably had to send them to a school to live at the school, like boarding school style. I don't know. In any event, this kid's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm gonna build some furniture, and we won't have to worry about money." Indeed, the father was a day laborer and earned his living wage as a carpenter. Yeah, so that's how he knows about carpentry. "My son," the father said, "that will be difficult for you to do, because I only have one axe, and can't buy one for you." That does limit their productivity quite a bit. You need someone to hold the stuff, right? Be like, "Hey, go get those nails. Go lacquer that piece of wood." Is it obvious that I don't know a lot about carpentry? "Well," the son answered, "go to our neighbor and ask him to lend you one." This son is the only one trying to solve problems here. The dad's like, we're screwed. I can't pay for your school." The son's like, "Okay, what if I help you at work?" He's like, "You can't help me at work. I only have one axe." He's like, "All right, we can borrow an axe." This son is very solutions oriented, whereas the father seems a little more defeated. More of a defeatist mentality. So, Team Son so far. Although, I get it. The father's trying to pay for his son to go to school, and then he ran out of money, and so now he probably feels pretty bad about himself. And, yeah, so just needs a little pick-me-up. So, good on you, son, for helping your dad's mindset be more optimistic. We continued. So the father borrowed an axe for his son, and they went into the forest to work. After they had worked until noon, the father said, "Now we'll rest a bit and eat our lunch. Then we'll be refreshed when we return to work." I don't know if that was necessary. That's just how lunch works. It's a very grandiose way of describing lunch. It's like if you were going to work and then randomly at 11:30, one of your coworkers was like, "I have an idea. Let's go partake in a meal. That way, for the latter half of the day, we shall be refreshed with our energy and vigor." Yeah, that's what lunch is. Man, we all do lunch. We all know what lunch is. It happens literally every day. We continue. The student took his lunch in his hand. Really breaking down the process of lunch here, guys, and said to his father that he wanted to go around and search for birds' nests. Is this the time? I guess if you're on your lunch break, do what you want with your lunch break. Just eat the lunch first. Don't just have it in your hand when you're looking for birds' nests. Eat it. Then, if you still got some time left before you got to get back to carpentry, sure, look for some birds' nests if you want. We continue. "Don't be foolish," the father said. "Why do you want to run around in the forest like that? Stay with me. Otherwise you'll get tired and won't be able to do much work anymore." Well, that logic is pretty solid. However, the son walked about in the forest, ate his bread, and looked for birds' nests. All right, well, these stories always have a moment where stuff turns and starts getting weird. And this I guess we don't know how old he is. Presumably he's like at least a teenager if he's capable of doing like good carpentry. He needs some strength to deal with that, for swinging axes around and stuff. But yeah, this is the time when things get weird. This kid's just deciding to like, hey, you know what? Carpentry's great and all, but what's going on with these birds' nests? I'm gonna go find some. When he came to a large, dangerous oak tree, he searched all around. What makes an oak tree dangerous? Aren't they mostly just standing there, you know? Other than like, what was it, Wizard of Oz? Was that the one where all the trees went crazy and attacked people? Otherwise, oak trees, pretty benign, pretty non-threatening, unless they fall. And they're very threatening. Maybe that's what, I mean, that's definitely not what this means. It's just trying to impart a feeling of suspense and doing a clunky job of it. That's what's happening in this story. But the only way an oak tree could be dangerous is it looked like it was like had just gotten hit by a lightning bolt and part of it was about to fall off. In any event, he came to a dangerous large oak tree and searched all around. All of a sudden, he heard a voice coming from the roots of the tree. It was crying out in quite a muffled tone. "Let me out! Let me out!" Yes, creepy. That is very creepy. He listened for it and called, "Where are you?" Once again the voice cried, "Let me out! Let me out!" "Yes, but I don't see anything," the student said. "Where are you?" Valid. "I'm over here in the roots of the oak tree." All right, just like the direction where it said it was coming from. So the student began to search and found a glass bottle in the hollow of the tree, and the voice was coming from there. Yo, this is getting real weird, and I am here for it. Let's go. When he held the bottle against the light, he could see a shape in it like a frog, and the shape cried out, "Pull out the cork." There's a full frog in the thing, and okay, all right. Maybe it's a little prince. Maybe it's a magic frog prince. It's a really roundabout, different way of doing that old classic. The student did this, and as he pulled out the cork, an enormous man came out and said, "Do you know what reward you've earned by letting me out?" He's getting right to it, not even just being like, "Oh, thank you. I was in there for 100 years." Nothing like that. He just leapt out and was like, "Hey, guess what you won?" We continue. "No," the student said. Unnecessary dialogue. "Well then, I'll tell you. I must break your neck for doing this." What? That is cruel. He's going to act like he gave him a prize, and he's like, "The prize is murder." Jesus. Okay, yeah, we're getting real weird now, guys. Let's go. "No, you can't do this to me," the student answered. "You should have told me sooner. Then I wouldn't have let you out. We've got to ask more people about this before you do anything." I love that. I love that tactic. It's like, whoa. Hey, hold on. We got to like check in with some people before you just go and do this. I didn't know that was going to happen. I never would have done it. We should crowdsource the solution here. Let's go find some people who presumably will protect me and not allow you to murder me straight away. So, good, quick thinking. This kid's learning some stuff in school, you know? Forget about more people. This is the genie talking now. Yeah, I'll bet. "You must receive the reward you deserve. Do you think people had pity for me when I was stuck in the bottle? No, they were punishing me. Do you know what my name is?" All right, buddy. Okay, all right, calm down. This is not the person that you take out your frustrations at being trapped in a bottle against, the person who let you out of the bottle. It's like if someone gets wrongly imprisoned and then a lawyer like figures out a break in the case to get them released, they're not like, "Great, I'm gonna murder that lawyer that got me free as thank you." What? No. Your logic makes no sense. And you're not even like making this a conversation. You just went on a weird speech and ended it with, "Do you know what my name is?" All right, bro, what's your name? We continue. "No," the student replied. "I don't know." Yeah, I feel that. I'm reading into his tone a lot myself, but yeah, frustration. We continue. "I'm the all-powerful Mercurius," the genie said. "I've got to break your neck." All right, Mercurius. Settle down. Let's just like pump the brakes on this for a minute, Mercurius. You're coming in real hot, Mercurius. Jesus. You just get freed, and all of a sudden you're just like, "Guess who I am? I'm Mercurius. I'm going to murder you. I have to murder you. We can't talk to more people. I murder you now, please." Jesus, buddy. Chill. "No," the student said. "That's not the right way to go about things." Yeah, damn right, student. Take it easy. I love that that was not an ad lib from me. That was literally it's in the story, him saying, "Take it easy," which, yeah, buddy, I agree. "Take it easy. First you must prove whether you can get back into the bottle. Otherwise, I won't believe that you ever came out of it. When I see that, I'll surrender to you and be your prisoner." I don't know about this. Because Mercurius could just be like, "You just saw me come out of it. This is obviously a trap. I'm the all-powerful Mercurius. I am very impulsive and fiery of temperament, but I'm not stupid." Or maybe he is stupid. We don't know how he ended up in that bottle. We don't know. He seems kind of stupid, if I'm being honest, actually. I'm giving him a lot of credit. I don't know why. He has displayed only really sort of barbaric and dumb and just real scattershot decisions so far. We continue. The genie agreed. Sure, of course, why not? And returned through the opening and down the neck of the bottle. As soon as he was inside, the student took the cork that he had pulled out and shoved it back into the top of the bottle. He had easily duped the genie, and now the genie pleaded with the student to let him out and set him free. "No," said the student, "I can't free anyone who seeks to put an end to my life, and I'll never let you out again." Yeah, obviously. Oh man, I would have loved. This is where I love these stories. This is where like a movie of this or any sort of visual, just the moment the genie realized what happened, and he's in there, he's like, oh, damn it, you stupid Mercurius. This always happens. I just realized his foolish. Like, "Okay, let me out. Please let me out." It's like, "No, you're going to murder me." Okay. Let's see what Mercurius has to say to plead for his life. "I'll give you as much money as you'll need for the rest of your life," the genie replied. "You'd only deceive me like you did the first time," the student said. "No," stated the genie, "I won't do anything to you." Yeah, I mean, that's a dumb. Don't let him out just because he offers you money. He said as much money as you need for the rest of your life. You could like hand him $1 and be like, "Because you're gonna die right now, and so that's the rest of your life. This is all the money you'll need." Yeah, obviously. Come on. The student was eventually persuaded by the genie, and he pulled the cork out again. Well, they really glossed over that in the story, didn't they? How could you possibly be persuaded by someone who literally all they've done is threaten to murder you in the time that you've known them? Like, "Oh, all right, okay." Man, how long did that? Maybe it was just like a hours long conversation to just wore him down. What's going on with the carpenter? He's probably like, "Man, my son is really invested in these birds' nests. If that's where his priorities are, maybe school wasn't such a great idea." Or maybe he's not really the learning type if all he cares about is wandering around and finding birds' nests. Although that's like science, so maybe, yeah, he does belong more in school than doing carpentry. If looking at birds' nests is what he wants to do. Yeah, become a biologist, a zoologist or something. All right, well, this kid let out the genie again for unclear reasons. We continue. After the genie climbed out, he said, "Now I'll reward you. Here's a special bandage made of plaster. If you rub this on a wound with one end, the wound will be healed. And if you rub it on steel or iron with the other end, it will be turned into silver." Okay, this worked out way better than the first time. Why did you open with murder? Maybe he feels bad. Yeah, he probably feels bad. He's like, yeah, you know what? That was not cool. That was really not cool of me to immediately try and murder you. So here's I don't know why. I was just all fired up to be out of the bottle again. Wanted to test out my murder powers because those used to be some of my favorites before I got trapped. But no, that was hasty. Shouldn't take this out on you. So here's a cool bandage. That's a thing, I guess. I've never heard of that in any of these, any like fairy tales or folk tales or mythology or folklore. But sure, magic bandage. Heals a wound or turns some stuff into silver. The student wanted to try out the bandage right away, and he made a tiny scratch on a tree and rubbed it with the bandage. Okay, all at once it was healed. So the student thanked the genie, and the genie thanked the student for releasing him from the bottle, and they took leave of one another. I'll bet they really kept an eye on each other as they walked away. If I'm that student, I'm like, so we cool now, right? Like, we good? I'm gonna go. Thank you for the bandage. I forgive you for, you almost murdering me. Don't do that. Don't do that when I leave, please. And good luck, all-powerful Mercurius. Please remember that I was kind to you. We continue. So the student took out his plaster. No. All right, I was skipping ahead. Sorry. The student returned to his father, who had resumed working, and scolded his son for staying away so long. "Didn't I say that you'd do nothing?" "I'll make up for it," the student replied. "Well," said the father, "there's no way to make up for lost time." "Father, what do you want me to do first?" "Chop down that tree." Why wouldn't you just tell him what happened? I guess that's not that dramatic. So, it's a story. We got to add some theatrics to it. Chop down that tree. So the student took out his plaster and rubbed his axe with it. After he had struck the tree 2 times, the axe was worn down and the blade was no longer sharp enough because it was entirely made of silver. "Look, father," said the son, "what kind of axe did you give me? It's now completely bent." All right, what's he up to? "Oh, what have you done now?" the father said, and had become even angrier. "Now I'll have to pay for the axe. Your help will be my undoing." "Don't be angry, father," said the son. "I'll certainly pay for the axe." "Yes, you numbskull." All right, Dad, cool it with the numbskull talk. "How are you going to pay for it? You have nothing but what I give you. Your head's full of hazy ideas from studying. You don't understand the first thing about using an axe." The son wanted to persuade his father to call it a day, but the father told him to go away. Why don't you just... What is this? Why don't you just turn the axe that you own into silver and then sell it and not put your dad through all of this weird stuff and be like, "Oh, it's ruined. You gotta pay. I'll pay for it. We gotta pay the people that we borrowed it from." It's just like, this is unnecessary roundabout stress for everyone and tasks and just turn the axe that you own into silver, sell it, buy a new axe, and a bunch of other stuff. Boom. Life's good again. But presumably buy a bunch of other steel stuff that you can then turn into silver and, continue to multiply your earnings here. All right, so the father told him to go away. However, the student wouldn't leave him in peace and said he wouldn't go home until his father came with him. Just tell him. But why are you being like this? The son took the axe with him, and the father, who was an old man, couldn't see that it had become silver. When they reached home, the father said, "Now see if you can sell the axe somewhere." So the student took the axe, brought it to a goldsmith in the city, and asked him how much he'd pay for it. As soon as the goldsmith saw the axe, he said that he wasn't rich enough to pay for it, and didn't have enough money on hand. Then the student told him to give him what he had, and he would wait until the goldsmith could borrow more money to pay for it. So the goldsmith gave him 300 gold coins, and the student borrowed another 100. Then the student went home with the money to his father and said, "I've got money, so now go to the neighbor and ask him how much he wants for the axe." "I already know," the father said. "He wants a gold coin and a penny." "Well then," the student replied, "give him 2 gold coins and 12 pennies. That's more than double what he wants, and it's enough." Okay, sure. Then the student gave his father 100 gold coins and declared that he'd never want for money, and told him the entire story of what happened. All right, so he really went for the dramatic. I still think it was unnecessary and a little over. Yeah, just needless stress. His father is so stressed out. Just like tell him what happened and let him off the hook. We continue. Meanwhile, the student took the other 300 gold coins and went to finish his studies. Afterward, he could heal all kinds of wounds and became the most famous doctor in the world. The end. Well, I don't really know what good going back to school went, because you already had the magic bandage that could literally heal anything, and just by having that, you're the best doctor in the world. Better than any education could give you. You have magic healing powers. So you don't need to go back to school at that point. It healed a scratch on a tree. Presumably it can heal all kinds of things, maybe even like diseases, or who knows the limits of this. Regardless, any wound you can instantly heal. Instantly. You don't need education for that. You just rub this bandage. Hopefully the bandage is like automatically self-cleaning, because otherwise this would be a disgusting rag very quickly, just rubbing it on a ton of different people's wounds. Gross. No thank you. I mean, it instantly heals, and presumably it's not gonna get infected because it's like instant magic healing powers. So that's pretty cool and pretty great. And yeah, there we go. The genie in the glass was that one. I like it though. It was just shorter for the more recent ones. Recently they've been longer, but yeah, that was a nice one. So the interaction between Mercurius, the genie, and the student was weird and like very back and forth in a weird way. I don't know why. It's like the story needed some type of threat. So they're like, what if the first time he comes out, he's just like, "I'm gonna murder you." All right, that seems that seems like it just makes the genie super weird for no reason. And I mean, you would be. If you were a genie and you're trapped in a bottle, you'd lose your mind. You'd be so frustrated, and yeah, you'd go absolutely insane. So the first person you see, you just want to let out that frustration and anger, and some kid just randomly showed up. Like, ah! So, I mean, like, yeah, this guy's insane. Mercurius is insane. And now he's wandering the forest with his bloodlust unsatiated yet. And whoever the next person he meets, let's hope this kid and his magic bandage are quick at hand somewhere nearby, because Mercurius is gonna murder at least one person in the imminent future. I do not trust Mercurius the genie at all. Yeah. I'm getting some ideas for the adaptation here. This is gonna be a good time. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, let's get to it. In terms of lessons, I don't know about lessons really, because it's just like they fell on hard times, and the first day of him helping his dad, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go look for some birds' nests," and just randomly finds this weird situation that he stumbles upon a ton of money because there's a genie in a tree hollow, and he let him out and tricked him so he didn't murder him. And then for some reason, the genie was super cool after that. It was just like fine. Again, that seems to all have changed in the one sentence that they glossed over, in which like the genie convinced, it said the student was persuaded to let him out again. And after that, everything was cool. What happened in that conversation? What was that conversation? How did the genie persuade him? Why was the genie change of heart? How long was the student gone? And how long did that conversation actually last? Did they have like a heart to heart and just like connect as like bros or something? Like what happened to that conversation? Because that was the moment that everything changed and the entire story turned and their relationship seemed to improve and they were helping each other out after that. And got the cool weird bandage thing that made people rich and healthy. That's the best of both worlds. So many like magic gifts or things people request or wish for, or it's health or money. This is a bandage that does both. Win win. Students got it made. Best doctor in the world. Yeah, didn't need the education though. He's got a bandage. He can heal anything. But yeah. All right. Let's do this. Adaptation after the break. All right. Got an adaptation here. It's going to be a series. Going to be modern day. I just really like fantasy elements in contemporary settings. Much more interesting. We've got a young man played by Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. Now, Finn was raised by a single father, played by David Tennant. Doctor Who, a million other things that are beloved. What a man, what an actor. And I also feel like I would believe that they would be father and son. They both have sort of an elfish kind of magical quality to them, both. Now, Finn is off at college, but his father has an accident at home and can't work for a while, so Finn has to leave school and go back to work at his father's glass-blowing business. You see where this is lining up with the glass? He's going to keep it on theme. So, father, he's a glass-blowing artist, like an artisan. He really wants to make a living just selling his art pieces, but he has to make more commercial things to sell, as like touristy little trinkets and knickknacks and things like that, just to, make do. And he hates that he has to make like artisan light bulbs and stuff to make enough money, but he just can't as an artist. And so Finn, he gets back home and has to basically just spend his days making these trinkets and these light bulbs and all of these various things, because his father was injured in a horrible glass-blowing accident and he has to recover. So Finn, he's working in this hot, intense workshop, and since they don't have a lot of money, Finn has to go around and collect like glass bottles and things that he can melt down to use in the pieces. And one day, he throws a bunch of bottles to melt them down. He throws them all in like the big melting pot. I don't know anything about glass blowing. Actually, I did watch a reality show about glass blowing. It was phenomenal. I think there was, the thing that they take a big hunk of glass. Again, the terminology is not gonna be a part of my vocabulary. But they take a big hunk of glass, put it on a big long pole, and they put it into a giant furnace device. I think it was called the glory hole. And I'm just gonna not make any jokes about that. But to make the glass in this reality, I don't know if there is any bearing on this in terms of actual glass making, but to get the raw material glass, he just takes a bunch of glass bottles and stuff and melts them down into big hunks of glass. So, one day, he throws a bunch of bottles to melt them down, and as he's melting them, suddenly out of the red-hot melting glass emerges a swirling smoke, and Finn, he inhales a bit of it, and he starts to cough, and the smoke swirls, and it coalesces into the form of a human, played by Cate Blanchett. Right? She totally makes sense for this kind of thing, right? Some manifestation genie coming out of a glass bottle, and Finn is stunned. Cate Blanchett, she just looks at him and she says, "What did you do?" And Finn is like, What do you mean?" Kate's like, "You destroyed my house. I lived in one of the glass bottles you threw in there so carelessly." And Finn is like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Can I make it up to you? I can make you a new bottle for a home if you live in bottles." And Kate's like, "It's a magic bottle. You can't just make a new one. But you do need to pay for what you've done. So you will pay with your life." And she snaps her fingers. But nothing happens. She furrows her brow and she looks at him for a moment and she snaps her fingers again. Still, nothing happens. And Finn, he lets out a cough and he says, "Sorry, I've still got some smoke in my lungs." And then Kate says, "You inhaled the smoke of my being, of my essence?" "Oh, well, that would explain it. You've absorbed some of my power. And since we are of the same essence, I have no power directly over you. Otherwise, you'd be dead with the snap of my fingers. But believe you me, I will get my revenge upon you somehow." And then Cate Blanchett, she just turns back into smoke, and she soars away, billowing out of a skylight in the roof. And so Finn is very alarmed and scared by this development, and having made an enemy of this magical entity. But he has no choice but to just carry on with his work, and as he does, he starts noticing that the things that he creates from the glass have certain little magical abilities. First, it's just a light bulb that needs no electricity to illuminate. Then he makes a little trinket of an elephant, like he always does, but he wakes up one night to a little clink sound coming from the workshop, and he goes down there to find that the elephant is moving around, and it looks fully alive, and then it freezes once more, this time in a different position, and he learns that the elephant comes alive for 5 minutes each day. Just little stuff like that. You could go nuts with all the variety of things that you could have very specific and nuanced magical abilities. And so he starts being able to sell these magical pieces made of glass, and also learning about this newfound power to imbue magic to glass items. But lurking in the shadows is this powerful entity, Cate Blanchett, this glass genie, and we don't know exactly what she's capable of, but we do know that she intends to enact some revenge upon our young hero Finn here. And also the father, he starts becoming jealous of Finn because he's starting to sell these pieces for a lot of money and making the father feel inferior as a glass artist. He's like, "Glass is my thing. You're only doing this to make money, but now you're making more money than I ever did with your art." But Finn, he just wants to make enough money to go back to school and to take care of his sweet father, David Tennant. Well, he's not that sweet, I guess, if he's being petty and jealous. And season one of the series could be him learning about this power and earning money while guarding against Cate Blanchett. A big confrontation at the end of the season, and Finn uses all of his little magical glass trinkets to like defend himself in like cool ways. And then he gets enough money finally at the end of the season that he can go back to school. And so season 2 is him back at school, but Cate Blanchett follows him, and she can shapeshift because she's made of, she has like glass abilities, so she can like melt herself down and become new things. And she pretends to be like professors and other students, maybe inanimate objects. She can just totally shapeshift. She's always messing with him. She hates this kid. But he can still make all of his little glass pieces, like ward her off or assist him in various ways. I also just really like the imagery and the idea of these magical little elegant art pieces made of glass that have very specific special abilities. Have a lot of fun with that. And that's the show. We got magical glass blower Finn Wolfhard trying to live his life and learn about, I don't know, political science. I don't know what we're gonna have him be. What should we choose him to? It should be like the antithesis of like glass blowing. Maybe he just wants like a very normal life. No, that's not interesting. It should be something. It should be like I don't know what came to mind is like sea captaining, because then he can make like a telescope, because that's glass, right? You have the different, it's like a magic telescope. So he's going to college for sea captaining and making all this cool glass stuff while guarding against Kate Blanchett, who wants her revenge on him and is also bitter that he stole a small bit of her power and maybe her soul. We shall find out. And then we got David Tennant as just this total wild card, whimsical but impulsive artist character. Sort of like, you don't love him, but he's David Tennant. He's so likable, just like naturally. You're gonna like him in the show. It's gonna be fun and funny and hilarious, even when he's being a little bit of a scoundrel or jealous of Finn's insane glass blowing talent. There you go. That's the adaptation. I'm super into it. This was not where I thought it was gonna go. But I like it. It's a little more lighthearted, I think. I mean, sure, there's like danger and like a weird glass genie who has her revenge sights on the protagonist, but tonally, it feels a lot lighter than a lot of the adaptations I do. Which are usually either pretty dark or just silly, whereas this one is kind of silly. There's a lot of room for silliness. We got David Tennant and Finn Wolfhard as like glass blowing father and son duo with magical stuff. Like there's lots of opportunities for silliness there. But it seems daintier than a lot of the just like dark, gritty adaptations and stories that we cover here. And for that reason, it's unique. And I like it. And that will do it for this week's episode of the ShadowBear Story Sessions. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Comment your favorite glass thing. I don't know. People always like make suggestions like, hey, comment your top 3 favorite. I don't know. You like a glass thing? Comment it. I'm great at YouTube. All right. I'll see you next time.